Have you ever had someone say something that just stuck with you? A comment that played on a loop in your mind, ruining your day, maybe even your week? What if I told you there's a way to become virtually immune to that? A way to build an inner fortress so strong that no one's words, actions, or negativity can ever truly bother you again. It's not about ignoring people or becoming cold, it's about a profound shift in your mindset, and today we're going to unlock it together. Let's start with a little story. Imagine two archers. The first archer steps up, draws his bow, and lets an arrow fly. It hits the target, but it's a little off-center. He immediately gets frustrated. "Ugh, my arm was tense," he mutters. "The wind picked up right as I released." He's visibly annoyed, his focus shattered. Now the second archer steps up. He also lets an arrow fly and it lands in a similar spot, slightly off-center. He pauses, takes a breath, observes the arrow's position, and simply says, "Interesting. Let's adjust for the next one." Who do you think will perform better in the long run? It's the second archer, right? The first archer was hit by two arrows. The first was the actual event, the arrow missing the center. The second and more painful arrow was the one he shot at himself, the arrow of judgment, frustration, and self-criticism. This is a classic Buddhist parable, and it perfectly illustrates our first major principle. Stop shooting the second arrow. When someone tries to hurt you, their words or actions are the first arrow. That's an external event. You can't always control it. But the second arrow, that's your reaction. It's the story you tell yourself about what happened. They're right. I am a failure. How dare they say that to me? This is a catastrophe. This self-inflicted wound is almost always more painful and damaging than the initial poke. The secret to never being bothered is recognizing this gap between the event and your reaction. The moment someone says something critical, pause. Take a breath. Acknowledge the first arrow. Okay, they said that. Now, consciously choose not to shoot the second one. You don't have to agree, disagree, or even engage with the first arrow. You can simply observe it, like the second archer observed his arrow in the target. It is just a piece of information. This single habit is life-changing. You take back your power by refusing to wound yourself. Now, let's build on that. The next powerful tool is what I call the objective lens. Our emotions often act like a distorting filter on reality. When we're upset, a small issue can look like an insurmountable mountain. The objective lens helps you strip away that emotional filter and see things for what they are. Here's how it works. When someone does something that upsets you, mentally take a step back and describe the situation as if you were a documentary filmmaker or a news reporter. Stick only to the objective, verifiable facts. For example, instead of thinking, "My boss hates me, he completely humiliated me in the meeting," you would reframe it using the objective lens. During the 10 a.m. meeting, my boss stated that my report needed more data and requested a revision by Friday. See the difference? The first statement is a story filled with emotional assumptions. He hates me. He humiliated me. These are interpretations, not facts. The second statement is just what happened. There's no story, no drama, just data. When you look at the situation this way, it loses its emotional charge. It becomes a problem to be solved. I need to add more data to the report, rather than a personal attack to be agonized over. Practicing this consistently trains your brain not to jump to the most dramatic conclusion. It allows you to respond to situations with clarity and logic, rather than reacting from a place of hurt and anger. You stop taking things so personally, because you realize that most of the time it's not actually about you. It's about their needs, their stress, their perspective. You become an observer of the facts, not a victim of the story. So we've learned to stop shooting the second arrow and to use the objective lens. But what about the source of our strength? Where does this resilience come from? This brings us to the most crucial part, building an internal locus of validation. Think about it. Why do other people's opinions bother us so much? It's because we've outsourced our sense of self-worth. We've handed over the power to define our value to our boss, our partner, our friends, even strangers on the internet. We're like a little boat tossed around on the waves of their approval or disapproval. If they praise us, we feel high. If they criticize us, we sink. To never be bothered again, you must bring that power back inside. You must become your own primary source of validation. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant or ignoring feedback. It means grounding your self-worth in things that are internal and stable. Your values, your integrity, your effort, your commitment to growth. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? Am I living in alignment with my principles? Did I put in my best effort today? Did I act with kindness and integrity? These are the questions that should define your self-worth. When you know, deep in your core, that you are a person of integrity who is trying their best, a random criticism from someone else feels less like a verdict and more like, well, noise. Imagine your self-worth is a sturdy, deep-rooted oak tree. Your values and efforts are the roots. Someone else's opinion is just the wind. It might rustle your leaves, but it cannot uproot you. You can listen to the wind. Sometimes it carries useful information, but you are not at its mercy. You are grounded in your own being. How do you build this? Start by celebrating your own efforts. At the end of each day, don't just focus on the results. Acknowledge the work you put in. I didn't close the deal, but I made 5 extra calls and followed up with integrity. The dinner I cooked wasn't perfect, but I put love and effort into making a healthy meal for my family. You are validating your own character and actions. This internal validation becomes a powerful shield. When someone tries to hurt you, their words bounce off because you're already secure in who you are. Let's put this all together. Think of it as a 3-layered defense system. First, when an attack comes, you recognize it as the first arrow and refuse to shoot the second arrow of self-criticism. You create space. Second, you apply the objective lens, stripping the event of its emotional drama and seeing it as simple data. This neutralizes the immediate threat. And third, your entire defense system is powered by a strong core of internal validation. Because your self-worth isn't on the line, you can handle the situation with grace, calm, and strength. This isn't an overnight fix. It's a practice, a mental martial art. You have to train these muscles every single day. The next time someone says something that triggers you, see it as a perfect opportunity to practice. Pause. Identify the first arrow. Put down the second one. Look at the situation objectively and remind yourself that your worth is defined by you and you alone. By doing this, you're not just learning how to not be bothered. You're mastering the art of inner peace. You're building a state of mind where you are free, truly free from the emotional turbulence caused by others. You become the calm center of your own storm. And that, my friends, is a superpower. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content on building a stronger, happier mind. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Take care and stay strong.